got a call from, or actually I called her. Her name is Cara Morman. She's a second-year student at Cincinnati State as a construction manager and a land surveying student. I was a Girl Scout for 13 years and received all 3 major awards. Well, I never got those, but I guess I wasn't a Girl Scout, so it doesn't matter. I am current Miss Indiana for National American Miss. I graduated from East Central, and she's going to say some words about some of her relatives and what she thinks about the veterans. Cara Morton.
Heroes come in all shapes, sizes, and genders. Today is a day for us to honor and thank some of those heroes for everything that they have done for us. Those heroes are called veterans. Veterans sacrifice more than most people are ever willing to, and they do this in order for all Americans to live their lives in freedom. When one decides to serve, it can and does have an impact on those around them. I have had the honor of getting to know and have my life impacted by 3 such people: my great-grandfather, my grandfather, and my cousin. I'd like to tell you a little bit about each of them. My great-grandfather, Charlie Johnson, served during World War II in the Army from 1943 to 1945. I got to spend a lot of time with him, but not quite enough. I was around 10 when he passed away in his 90s. But he definitely lived an amazing life until the end. When he served, he was stationed overseas in the Philippines and New Guinea throughout the entire war. He did not talk much about his time overseas, except when I spent time with him on numerous Veteran and Memorial Days. One story that he told many times stuck in my mind. It was about when he returned home 2 years after my grandmother, his daughter, was born. He spoke of how when he got to see her, that she did not want to go to him at first because he was a stranger to her. This is something that many veterans and children go through because of serving. I remember how when he would talk about getting to serve, or when he put on his military uniform, how his eyes would light up with pride. It seems like any chance he could, he was wearing that uniform. Once he passed away, though, we learned more about his time serving, as family would share stories that he had once told. My favorite was that while he was in Australia on leave, he would go dancing, and he met a young lady there. He admitted to his wife that he did kiss her, but nothing else happened. I can understand why she would have kissed him, because he was good looking when he was in the Army. We would tell these stories as we went through the boxes and the things at his house. While doing this, we found boxes of items from his time serving, such as medals and pictures that we didn't know he had. It was amazing to see and learn about the history and what he went through. Another veteran who impacted my life greatly was my grandfather. He passed away over 2 years ago, but he went down fighting like any veteran would. However, he never considered himself a veteran or part of the military. He was in the Army National Guard Reserve. He was never deployed, but he still signed up to serve his country. He did, however, get sent on riot duty many times. He was part of the military during the time of the Vietnam War, so he had a lot of extra training, but his unit never got sent over. Recently, a veteran told me that no matter if you go around the world, go to another state to help on our soil, or if you never get deployed, you still signed up to serve our country. I wish he would have seen that, but he was a humble man who reminded me to never take anything for granted. My cousin, a Navy man, joined around 1988 and got deployed a couple of times. He also re-enlisted after 9/11 and was sent off to Iraq. He was there right before Desert Storm, but was part of the IOF mission. Through both times he enlisted, he was on an aircraft carrier as well as being stationed in the desert. I had always known that he was in the military, but not to the extent of what he did or where he went. But when he came home, he would occasionally tell us a few things, such as how he got to help shoot down 2 Libyan MiGs. He would also answer our questions about what he did or other small things that I cannot repeat. Otherwise, he never talks about it. People always talk about how hard it is for veterans to go back to civilian life, and I can see that in him, sort of. He could have done anything when he came back, but he went into the police force and continued to serve. When I talked to him, he said that the biggest change about coming back especially from the desert, was that he had to pick out normal clothes and there wasn't camo everywhere like he was used to. He also said it was strange not having his rifle on him at all times. Other members of my family served as well that I had never gotten to meet, or if I did, I was too young to remember, such as my mother's grandfather, who was a World War II veteran. He never got deployed due to his age and because he was valuable. My aunt has a letter written to him from President Roosevelt commending him for his work to treat the glass part of the gun sights the military was using so that it would keep the soldiers safe. My grandma said that she and her siblings would always joke that scrap metal was their dad's toys because he was part of the group that helped collect it to be recycled to make the weapons. There was also my Uncle Case, who served in the Navy in World War II. He was a gunner on the USS Santee during the war, and his ship, while he was on it, took a torpedo hit, and not long after that, about 20 minutes, a Japanese suicide plane hit their aircraft carrier. The theme of veterans having a special bond is still alive today. A few weeks ago, my grandma had the privilege of going on a bus trip to Indianapolis with a group of veterans. Some of you here now may have been on that trip. There were 4 veterans from World War II and many others from the Vietnam and Korean War eras. From talking to the various veterans, it was obvious that many branches of the armed forces were represented in the group. Throughout the day, she heard many stories. Some were funny, while others were more serious in nature. The Vietnam Memorial, which is near the American War Museum, contains the names of the soldiers from Indiana who lost their lives during the war. Almost everyone there was able to point out the names of someone they knew who was listed on that wall. Again, there were stories to be shared. In the museum, she said there was a display of badges from the different divisions. She added that this probably isn't the correct designation of these badges, but the point was that everyone took pride in pointing out the badges that they had acquired. Another special thing about the outing was that people on the street said thank you for your service. Everyone appreciated that remark. Grandma said that there were even offers to pay for the dinner for the veterans. She said it didn't matter which branch of the service each of them was in, or which war was taking place, or what rank you achieved. They were all one proud group of veterans who had served. There seems to be another theme among veterans as well. They don't really seem to talk about their time overseas. They have their reasons for not openly sharing it all the time, but if you ask them, they may tell you. They're all humble, caring, and kind. There are so many who fight for this country who do not get enough thanks. If you see someone who is serving, or who has served, or has a loved one who is serving or who has served, a simple thank you can go a long way. I would like to conclude with a quote that a friend had shown me that I find perfect for this occasion. There are not words big enough. There is not a hug strong enough. There's not a smile wide enough. All I can offer is thank you. You are my hero. You are in my thoughts. You are in my prayers. For all you've done, thank you.